Hello again. Today I'm going to be talking about perspective in the hobby and the fact that things can go up over time and down over time, but the secret is that you can learn lots from the past and what past prices were and how they look today in comparison. So something I like to do, and I thought it'd make a pretty cool video, is look on old forums and on old posts and try and see what was the hype back in the day and what were cards selling for back in the day and how you can apply that to nowadays. And the best way I've found this is because Facebook groups are a bit more newer, I think. You can still search in the groups function, and I like doing that and seeing how cheap some cards were in the past and how oversold some things were in the past. But personally, I like looking at Oz Card Trader the most because it has probably the oldest footy card trading information. I think there's probably other websites that were even before Oz Card Trader, but yeah, it's the easiest one to just easily search and look for specific cards, and you can see people talking about them about 10 years ago. So that's, yeah, it might sound weird, but that's something I enjoy doing and looking at the old prices. So that's what this video is going to be about. I think the biggest thing about looking at old prices is, like I said, just to give some perspective. And that's that prices are going to go up, prices are going to go down. But in the long run, if you buy the right cards, I think that you'll be pretty safe. And I don't mean that you're always going to make money. You can definitely lose. Like some of these examples I'm going to give is that cards have gone down over time. And that's fine, but I don't think it's fine for me. I wouldn't be happy with myself if I bought a card for, say, $500 and then it went down to $20. Like, that would really annoy me. And yeah, just I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't enjoy having the card because of that, unless I really wanted it and really liked it. But I don't think the card would be very significant if it went down to $20 anyway. So it's probably something I wouldn't buy. But I'm just going to get into it, and probably the most interesting screenshot, I might even use it as the thumbnail for this video. But yeah, it's this one, and this is about the Dusty draft pick signature. Now, this post was made in 2013. And you can't see the photo because sometimes some of these old posts, the photo gets taken down or the image sharing website doesn't work anymore. But this is the Dusty draft pick signature, as in the same one that's selling for over $1,000 today. And this dude wanted $75 delivered in 2013. And the funny thing is, it didn't sell straight away. Like, there's comments after there's I think 2 pages of the thread where he's talking to people and people asking him questions about it. So it definitely didn't sell straight away. And that's for $75, like I said, in 2013. And it sounds ridiculous now, but if you look back and yeah, you try and read the trends, and it can help you find the next card that might have that much growth. And the best thing about this, I think, obviously the last year has been huge in the footy card industry. Like, cards have boomed. That card specifically, you could probably buy in 2017, 2018 for like $200, $250. And that's after the Tigers' first premiership. He was already a star of the AFL, like a Brownlow medalist. So had one of the best seasons on record, and his card was only $200. So the way I look at it about this one is, back in the day, in 2013, I wouldn't have bought this. I think it's too risky because there's some more examples here where people speculated on cards and it just didn't work out for them. They would have lost lots of money. I think for $75 in 2013, it's not a bad buy because he had a pretty instant impact on the competition. It's not like he took a while to get going. He was a late bloomer. Like, he was good from the start. So it wouldn't have been a horrible buy for $75. I think it's something similar to maybe what Bailey Smith would be nowadays, for example. But what I am a bit annoyed at myself about is that I didn't buy in 2017 and 2018 when his card was $200. Because at that point, when you buy it in 2013, he's not a star, he's not a legend yet. There's a lot of risk attached. Like, it could go back to $10, $20 a card if he gets injured or his career goes nowhere. What I'm a bit more annoyed at myself about is in 2017, 2018, when he was already a star and you could tell he was going to be a long-term legend. He literally had one of the best seasons of all time in 2017, and there's no two ways about that. So for his card to be $250 back then, I think that's a great price, and it's something that the price can't fall a huge amount more than that. Now, it could have stayed like that if that's the best season he had, and he stayed on being a great player, but didn't have the heights of that season, then that card might stabilise around $200. But that's kind of the risk you take, and it's better to take a risk that the card stagnates than it goes down a lot. And as we know, that it's now boomed from 200 to over 1,000. So that's the first post I wanted to look at. The second one is connected. I think it was the next comment actually, and people will definitely get a kick out of this one. Have a read of this. I'll just let people read it. Actually, it speaks for itself. So yeah, flog of the highest order. This is it's funny because you forget about this so easily. Richmond back then didn't have this crazed collecting fan base. Like, they were a pretty struggling franchise for a long time because, I mean, they kept coming ninth back then. They were a bit of a joke of the AFL, and people forget so quickly. Like, this is when 2013 the Hawks were going crazy. Like, they were the best dynasty of the AFL, and now look at them. No one cares about the Hawks. No one goes to the games at all, and their fan base has all of a sudden gone missing. So things can change really quickly. And yeah, I think it's important not to get caught up in hype, as I said before, because Richmond in 5 years, they could go back to being that bottom 8 side or bottom 9 side, and the supporters will all of a sudden go missing, and the card prices go down. So yeah, I thought that comment was hilarious, and I wonder what that dude thinks now. Now he's a triple premiership, triple Norm Smith player. The next card I want to look at is something I own and something I really like. One of my favourite cards is the Chris Judd gold signature. And I've actually heard from people that this used to be like a $400-500 card in the late 2000s, which I wouldn't be surprised. That's when Judd was playing his best footy. He was the best player in the AFL at that point with Gary Ablett. So yeah, I'm definitely not surprised it was selling for that much. But I couldn't find anything from that old, and I'm not actually sure it was, but that's just what I've heard. The earliest one I could see is 2013, and someone was selling it for $170. So if you bought it for, say, $500 in the late 2000s, you would have taken a pretty heavy loss. And what I compare this to is maybe the Dustin Martin draft pick signature now, where it feels like it's kind of at the peak of its height. And in 5 years' time, like I said, if Richmond goes down the ladder a lot more, that card could fall from $1,200 or whatever it is now to the $500, $800 range. But the thing is, I wouldn't be too worried about that, because say the Judd fell from 500 to 170. If you look at the next post I'm going to put up, well, it's being sold for $250 in 2016, and in 2019 it's consolidated a bit. It's being sold for $225. And if you look online nowadays, you could probably sell around that 225 mark still, but I think it's just very stable at that price. And if you bought it even in the late 2000s for $500, where it's absolute peak, I think it will get back to that one day. You just have to hold it. And if you really love the card, that won't be a problem for you. And you might have to wait 10 years, you might have to wait 20 years, but I think it will hit that, and it'll keep pushing past, because he's just such a legend of the game that will be so important for years to come. This is just a quick one. This is a bit of a personal one, something I wish I saw. I think this is about 2019. I don't have the timestamp in the photo, but this is Fife's Platinum Draft pick getting sold for $100. I haven't seen this card in so long. Like, it just doesn't get out there, and I've teased this video before. I'll probably make it next, but some cards just don't see, and I just really wonder why, whether a Fremantle collector's just hoarding it and holding on to it or what. But yeah, this, because one hasn't sold for so long, the last one that sold was about $150. So if you look at that, you go, oh well, it's only gone up $50 in the last 2 years. But I really wonder what it'll sell for these days. Like I said, I'm happy to pay $200 if someone's got one. The next card I want to look at, well, quickly I'll mention the Dusty Martin draft pick Platinum. So like I said, his draft pick signature was selling for $75 in 2013. Well, look, this is 2019, and his draft pick Platinum, his second best card, in my opinion, is selling for $90. Now, these days, I'd say that's $400 or $500 card, I'd say. These days, so even in the last 2 years, that growth has been just huge. And this is when I was kind of looking for cards, so it just shows that back then if I followed my own beliefs and my own things and I bought a bit more aggressively. Now I don't regret anything because you can win and you can lose. And in that same post, there's a Dangerfield gold signature, which is the one out of 400 for $100. And I've mentioned before, I've bought one recently for about $75. So it has gone down the last 2 years, but this has been a pretty lean period in Danger's career for his standards. And for it to only go down from 100 to 75 just shows the strength of that card, I think. If Geelong win a premiership this year and he's a big part of that, I'd imagine that shoots straight back up. And it's something like the Judd where I wouldn't be too worried if it falls down because he's so important and he's already done everything in his career that you could want. Like, he's already in there. He doesn't have to do anything more to be a legend in the game, so I wouldn't be worried about his price in the future. This next post is from 2013 as well, and it's kind of just interesting. It didn't say the price of cards specifically, but it was an interesting note that draft pick signatures, the only draft pick signatures that sold for over 100 were Judd, Franklin, Thomas, and you forget how big Dale Thomas was back then, especially for Pies collectors. He was quite a huge popular player. And the next one, obviously Pendlebury, who is still a huge player in the league, even though he's fallen into the background a bit more over the past few years. We've got Nick Nat on that list as well, Dangerfield, and Kane Lucas, Kane Lucas really sticks out in that list. Thomas is probably the second worst, but Kane Lucas definitely, his card was selling for over 100. I think from context, it seemed like that was because someone bulk bought his cards and really decreased the supply. But the problem is, you can make the card over $100 every day of the week when it's in demand, but as soon as that card loses demand, which these cards would have straight away, pretty much because Kane Lucas didn't really do anything, then you're in a lot of trouble. And this is the problem with speculating rather than going for established players. And the last one I just want to mention is Dangerfield Platinum. So this is 2013, and this card is being sold for $350. Just something to mention as well, I don't know if these cards sold. I don't know if these people were asking for a lot back then or that these were cheap prices. This is just something, prices I found on the forum. But $350, it sounds pretty reasonable back then, but if you follow the prices these days, that's probably what it would sell for these days, if not a bit less. So once again, prices can fall. That's one of the messages of this video. I know I'm very confident and bullish on the footy card market, and I think it's going to increase in the future, which I still do, but you have to expect things to fall, and not only, like, I'm thinking very long term as well. So if you have a different perspective and you want quick returns and you want to see 100,000% returns in a year or 2 years, and you have to take some risks. But on the card like the Dangerfield Platinum, even back then, if you spent $350, if you have a long-term focus, you're not going to lose any money on that. What you might lose is the time value of money, the opportunity cost, because you could have put that in something else. You could have put it in the stock market or in a high interest bank account or whatever it is. But I think in the long term you're not really going to lose, especially if you love the cards. So I hope you enjoyed a bit of a trip down memory lane and found it a bit refreshing to see what has changed in the market and what has stayed the same. I think, obviously the biggest surprise was seeing that dusty DPS sell for $75 in 2013, but you never really know. You never really know what's going to go up and what's going to go down, but all you can do is try your best and try and think about it and just enjoy who you collect. So I'll see you next time, and have a good one.